All right, it's 5:10. So, hi everybody. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Um, let me see. Yep, I think so. My name is Vivian Wong. I'm the new executive director of Richmond Main Street. I started back in January of this past year, and it's been quite an experience. So, without further ado, I just wanted to lay out some ground rules, or I guess housekeeping rules. I wanted to let you guys know that our team is on board. Alicia Gallo is our programs and communications manager. Ronnie Mills is our project manager. We have two of our board members present, Charlene Smith and Robert Rogers. So thank you guys for joining us today. We have a chat feature on the bottom of your screen. I think it's on the bottom, I'm not sure. But if you have any questions or comments throughout the meeting, I'm sure that Ronnie will be making note of that and collecting your questions. So we will be muting all participants until the end where we have our Q&A session. But yeah, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat feature like Jacqueline did. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A and kind of meet and greet the new ED, which is me. And we are actually recording this meeting and it will be sent out across all our platforms. So just letting you know that. And so without further ado, I'm going to get started with our presentation. Okay. So this is about us. So we are an accredited National Main Street program, and our mission is to revitalize our historic downtown Richmond as a pedestrian-friendly urban village that offers products, services, arts, and entertainment that reflects our community's rich and diverse heritage. And so we focus on different programs around promotions, clean and safe, economic development, community development, and design. And so with breaking those categories down, with community, we are here to build and strengthen our relationships with all stakeholders. You might know that we've been around for actually about 20 years in the community. So we definitely have a very long-standing network of stakeholder relationships, and we continue to build on that. We also promote our downtown area through marketing programs around through special events, public art, and with our business community. And for clean and safe, we basically have our wonderful neighborhood ambassadors who help us enhance public safety and the cleanliness of downtown Richmond. And around economic development, which is one of my passions, is to support our downtown businesses, our entrepreneurs, and ensuring equitable development that comes through our way. And lastly, design is basically enhancing the physical appearance of our downtown. So the next slide, this is a photo of our team. That's Alicia on the left. She's our programs and communications manager. In the middle is Ronnie Mills, our project manager, and that's me on the right, new ED. Okay. And so I wanted to basically explain what a PBID is. And so this is a public-private partnership that we manage, the Downtown Richmond Property-Based Improvement District, or DRPBID for short. It's funded through annual assessments on commercial and nonprofit housing parcels. Our PBID funds pay for services and activities designed to make downtown an economically viable, safe, and attractive place by continuing our established environmental and economic enhancements that supplement base level city services. So we formed the PBID back in 2012. It gets renewed every 5 years, and there are a total of 82 parcels and 34 property owners. And so I'm very excited to see one of our property owners on part of our discussion today. So, and so our community is made up of residents, businesses, property owners, and of course our wonderful board of directors and committees. And as you can see, our partners span nonprofits, community-based organizations, to city and county departments, and we have wonderful funders and supporters as well. And this is really just a snippet of our relationships with our different partners. And like I said, we continue to build on those relationships. And so I'll give now the access sharing to Alicia. And Alicia, can you control? Yay, okay, wonderful, thank you.
Yes, I think I have it. Thank you, Vivian.
Mhm.
So yes, I think most of you know me, but from those of you who don't or would love the friendly reminder, my name is Alicia Gell. I'm the Programs and Communications Manager with Richmond Main Street. And my role in today's annual stakeholder meeting will be to recap and report out on our year 2019, which we dubbed our year of transition and change. So 2019 was an incredible year of transition and change for Richmond Main Street. We had a lot going on, a lot of positive forward momentum in the revitalization of historic downtown Richmond. And we did all of this through, the partnerships that we have with community members, with businesses, with sponsors, funders, property owners, volunteers, and of course, vendors, performers, wide cross-section of the community that we have in Richmond. So we're super grateful for the continued support that the community provides to this vital work that we have in Richmond. And I've kind of chunked the exciting report outs by theme. So first, we had a lot of big moves and grand openings. Our office physically moved from the Carquinez apartments to the BART station, and we were kind of the first to move into the Richmond Visitor Center. That happened in January of 2019. At the time, it seemed like a really, really big, hectic period. It kind of pales into comparison to what we're handling right now, but it's also really nice to be able to kind of look back and see how we were able to persevere and really make that space our own so we can continue working for the community. We were also super excited that the Richmond Main Post Office was renamed after Harold D. McCraw Sr., who was a longtime postmaster in Richmond. And this was kind of the culmination of many long months of fighting to keep that post office in operation and keep it from being disposed by USPS. It's not a watertight protection, but the fact that it's been renamed after this historic figure is an additional level of protection that we're really happy to see. We also had the grand openings of the Richmond Business Hub, which is the 10,000 square foot space on the ground floor of the Richmond BART parking garage that was vacant for about 7 or 8 years upon the completion of the structure. We worked with a variety of folks to try and get new businesses that were community serving into that space, and we were very grateful to be able to meet the developer, Ernst Valerie, introduce him to downtown Richmond and specifically that space, and bring a whole bunch of other partners at the table to work together to put something positive inside of that space. And the result of that is the space being shared by 2 entities that are both separate, but they're complementary. So the first being the Richmond Food Hall. There's shipping containers that have businesses inside of them. So we welcomed Rue and then Red Bay Coffee, as well as Oak Stop Richmond. And that was in the beginning portion of 2019. And then towards the end of 2019 in November, we did the grand opening celebration for CoBiz Richmond, which is the co-working and business incubator space in downtown. And again, that was a project that Richmond Main Street was a founding community partner in both envisioning the idea in partnership with Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, but also fundraising and working out the details and how it was going to look and how it was going to be designed so that it could really serve our entrepreneur community. We also did a lot of work building up businesses and bringing arts downtown. So we continued our Art in Windows exhibition series. In 2019, the series was called Art Through Transition, where we partnered with artists from the Art of Living Black in the spring, and then artists from the Naiad Art Center in the fall. And we asked them to, feature artworks that spoke to both themselves as artists, but also the community. And we hosted panel discussions where the artists were in dialogue with community members about, where we're at in this pivotal moment, where the arts can play a crucial role in supporting equitable development in downtown. And I'm super excited that with the spring show, we actually were able to connect a art patron with 2 of the artists, and we successfully helped to facilitate 2 artwork sales. So, it's another example of using the arts as a way to have a really supportive dialogue about the work that's going on in downtown, as well as supporting the art, but also, the economic aspect of the artwork as well. And then our work with small businesses and entrepreneurs was really astronomical last year. Through a partnership with Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, we were able, as well as the Contra Costa SBDC, we hosted 25 free business workshops supporting 100+ local entrepreneurs and business owners. We co-hosted a business mixer with Richmond Richmond Chamber of Commerce. And we actually endorsed 2 Kiva microloans for 2 separate Richmond businesses, which helped them, acquire some financing to be able to expand their operations. And one of the loans for the bakery was funded in just 17 hours, which was, we didn't even get a chance to promote it before it had already been funded. So our idea of having Evangeline from the bakery at our small business Saturday reception that we hosted at CoBiz, and as a launch of the loan turned into a celebration of the loan being fully backed and her being able to move on to the next step for her business goals. So that was really exciting. We also did a lot of work, continue to keep downtown clean and safe. So our neighborhood ambassador team continued working. We have 2 teams, maintenance in the morning, that's Mary and Deontay, and they're pictured here on this slide. And our hospitality team, Mary and Billy. So Mary plays double duty. And I'll have a little bit of more information about, the impact of their work a little bit later on during my portion of this presentation. We also hosted 2 beautification events. We did an Earth Day tree planting on 11th Street in partnership with Groundwork Richmond, adding new kind of water-friendly, space-appropriate trees to 11th Street. There were some vacant tree wells. So those will really begin to contribute to a healthy urban canopy in the coming years. And we also did our annual community green space cleanup in June in preparation for the summertime events. And then we also, which was super exciting, completely unprecedented, was we got a call from the city of Richmond saying we've been able to acquire some new big belly trash can units. They had done a pilot program about a year and a half prior. We were able to get them to put 2 of them in downtown to really advocate on behalf of the community and the need that we have in our transit area for more trash receptacles, especially smart trash receptacles. And so it was very great to see that that was a successful pilot program, and that they came back to us a little while later and said, we have more big bellies. Do you want them? And if you do, where do you want them? And we had been collecting a lot of feedback from our community members, as well as the data from the ambassador program. So we were able to use that to inform placement for additional units, and to really, add to the cleanliness infrastructure of downtown. So there was 20 additional trash and recycling duos in the downtown area. And then, of course, kind of everyone's really big, exciting, fun things is creating opportunities for residents to have fun downtown. So here's the list of all of the free community events that we hosted right in the heart of Richmond. Our Healthy Village Festival in June, 2 Music on the Main concerts, 1 in July and 1 in August. We did our 6th annual Chill with the Cop in August, and then we partnered with both BART and RPD on National Night Out in August as well. And then Spirit and Soul Festival, which is our big kind of culmination of our Celebrate Downtown series. It was the biggest ever. both in terms of footprint, we expanded it by an entire block, as well as attendance and the number of performers, vendors, and volunteers. And then we wrapped up the year with our Downtown Holiday Festival in December, which is a partnership event with East Bay Center for the Performing Arts. And then we also had 2 special events last year. The best time ever was a super special event. It was kind of a farewell event to Amanda, who was our longtime executive director. And then we also partnered with East Brother Beer Company in December to host Sanity's New Sleigh, the 3rd annual fundraiser event for the Downtown Holiday Festival. And then we also, of course, continued our work with engaging stakeholders and fostering youth leadership. We host our annual stakeholder meeting, as we do every year, in our new space. It was kind of like an open house, welcome, office warming duo event as well. And then we hosted 2 transition and change meetings, which were kind of like focus group, community-centered meetings, where we really wanted to provide updates on the development that's happening in downtown, but also seek feedback and open up partnership opportunities with residents and businesses around incoming development that's happening downtown. And we conducted surveys at all of those meetings. We also hired 2 Richmond residents to conduct surveys throughout the greater Richmond area as well, to seek feedback from residents on what they see downtown is like and what they would like it to be like in the future. And our youth leadership opportunities included hosting 2 youth interns, Michelle Hong with the Health Career Pathways, and Umberto with Rising Professionals out of the Rise Center. And then probably our big crew to talk, kind of big youth leadership opportunity that we were able to provide thanks to support from the City of Richmond's ECIA grant program was forming a youth media crew. We recruited 3 Richmond high school students, pictured here, left to right, Marlon, Imani, and Ryan. They were all young people who were interested in storytelling, interested in learning more about the Richmond community and making meaningful contributions to its future and how it's represented. And they embarked on this really incredible storytelling project where they investigated the history of downtown, envisioned its future, and did all of that through both their own voices and the voices of Richmond residents. We also continued our very successful and fulfilling partnership with Fresh Approach with their mobile farmers market, and specifically supporting through our promotional platform, the Downtown Stop at Kaiser Richmond, which in 2019, there were 41 truck visits, only a couple of cancellations due to weather and some of the smoke from the fires, but still 41 visits from February to December is a lot. They're weekly stops. There were 677 shopper visits and a total of just over $2,600 in market match money, basically subsidized purchases for folks who are using public benefits, which is getting more healthy fruits and vegetables into the hands, onto the tables of our residents, helping to support them in living a healthy lifestyle. And then the truck was at all of our downtown events, so passing out free produce and recipes and promoting the truck stops in both Richmond and San Pablo. And then we had some warm welcomes and some bittersweet farewells. We have a list here of some of the new businesses that moved into downtown in 2019. We mentioned already Rue and Red Bay Coffee, as well as CoBiz. And then Rich City Studios and Sparks Motorcycles were new as well. And then we sadly said farewell to Your Way Pizza and Hacienda Grill. And we're working really hard to get those spaces filled with new businesses, specifically the Your Way Pizza spot. We're really, waiting for us to get over this COVID hump here so that the new business can move in. And then we had some staff changes as well. So we said hello to Ronnie, who joined us in June of 2019 as an admin finance coordinator, and Catherine through a senior work program. And then we said farewell to Flo, who was our previous admin finance coordinator in early spring of 2019, and then to Amanda, our now former executive director, in November of 2019. And here's just some numbers for people who like numbers to see the impact of our work. So we partnered with 228 volunteers who contributed over 1,000 hours of service. You know, without them, we really could not host our events. These are, you know, the backbone of our operations, especially during our events. This also takes into account our board of directors and our committee members, all of whom volunteer their time and their expertise to help us fulfill our mission. And I am just always internally grateful to, you know, to what they give of themselves to the work that we do. At our community events, we had about 1,500 folks come out, 136 vendors and 26 performers. And all of these vendors and performers, nearly 100%, are Richmond-based entrepreneurs and businesses. So it really is a Richmond-focused, you know, initiative that we have going on here with Richmond Main Street. Our neighborhood ambassadors, we have a crew of 3. They are all Richmond residents. They worked and performed about 2,900 hours of service onto the district. That's for both maintenance and hospitality, collecting 200 plus bags of trash and helping to address just north of 200 issues that ranges from overflowing trash cans to graffiti, engagement with unhoused residents, checking in with our merchants, you know, you name it, they pretty much help us out with it. And then some numbers in terms of investment in downtown. According to our kind of research and estimates, there's been about $19 million worth of public and private investment in downtown from a variety of projects, including the Richmond Business Hub, those 20 big belly trash recycling pods that I mentioned earlier, public art projects like murals, the Lifelong Medical Williams Jenkins Health Center, as well as upgrades to the Richmond Visitor Center space. And we did all of this, you know, with about just over $400,000 of program income. So we're a really small, lean machine here, really leveraging and all of our partnerships that we have in the community to move forward our mission here of the revitalization of downtown Richmond. And now I think I'm going to pass it back over to Vivian for what we have going on this year.
Okay, thank you. So, like Alicia mentioned, 2019 was just an amazing year of transition. And when I stepped foot into the doors of in January of 2020, I had a lot of ideas of what can be done to carry forward all of the wonderful work that we have historically been doing. And then COVID hit. So we had a great start. So I started January 2nd of this year. We welcomed the Rich Clothing Company back in January with this wonderful photo you see here. We had a great turnout for their grand opening. And the Osaitan Obego is in the center carrying the little girl there. He is the owner of the Rich Clothing Company, formerly Rich City Apparel, and he's just a wonderful co-tenant, a wonderful business owner from the Richmond community. And then back in March, right before SIP happened, Shelter in Place happened, we did we did 2 grand openings for Left Side Printing and Richmond Soul. Both are owned by Diego Garcia, a very wonderful, long-standing and upstanding Richmond resident. And so, yeah, he's on McDonald Avenue near our office. And then we had the wonderful Downtown Rediscovered premiere event with our 3 youth through the ECIA grant. And we actually showcased the film at COBIZ in February. That had a wonderful reception as well. And then for the census work, we did a lot of digital outreach, and we're planning for more canvassing in the future this summer, to be specific. And we also had our annual board retreat where we presented our 2020 work plan, and we had board elections. So that was this up until mid-March. And then COVID hit. So we rolled with the punches. We've been sheltered in place since then, but we've been working extremely hard with responding to the needs of our community. So we immediately reached out to our businesses through phone calls, emails. We went out, we also sent out small business email blasts every week. Thanks to Alicia's amazing dedication, she's put together the community resource directory, which you can find on our website. And it has a ton of different resources for businesses, workforce, parents, students, you name it, we have it, and it's always being updated. Because we're also going through tons of COVID response training in the form of webinars, meetings, and just being constantly updating ourselves with the most recent information so that we're sending out relevant and time-sensitive information. We also are part of the Small Business Support Working Group, which is a collaboration between Richmond Main Street, Richmond Chamber of Commerce, the Workforce Development Board of Contra Costa County, and the City of Richmond. They have wonderful staff that are hosting all of these working groups meetings, and we're getting a lot of things done through that. So we'll be very excited to share more details later on. And when March, April hit, we decided out of safety that we should put the neighborhood ambassadors on hold. And then by June 1st, we decided that it was time for not just 3 of them to return, but we added another 2 folks on the crew, in the morning crew, to do a deep clean of our neighborhood. So I hope that you guys are seeing the impact that they're making. I took a lot of photos recently, and they're just working really hard to do a lot of weed abatement, picking up litter, overflowing trash cans, reporting any blight and anything else that would help improve the image and cleanliness of our downtown district. We also have been embarking on very exciting digital marketing campaigns called Heart of Richmond series to really uplift the voices of our Richmond businesses. And so I think there's a little snippet of that. So if you see on the screen here, the Heart of Richmond series is a Wells Fargo grant that we were able to get recently. And every week we feature 3 businesses. So 2 weeks ago was women-owned, last week was Latin-owned, and then I believe we're focusing on food and beverages, food and beverage types of businesses, and followed by Black-owned businesses in the coming 2 weeks. So we have boosted posts to make sure that not only are we telling the stories of our wonderful Richmond businesses, but that people are responding and to the calls to action, which is to support them, whether you go in person for curbside pickup or you're going online to shop on their website. And you can check out all of the videos that we've posted on our YouTube channel, as well as looking at all the photos that we've been collecting through a local photographer. He's been doing phenomenal work and documenting all of this footage. And so looking forward, we continue to check in with our local business community, sharing resources with them, sharing health updates and other alerts. I know reopening in different phases can be confusing. So like I said, we work very closely with county health and with the City of Richmond to understand what can open, what cannot, and what are the best practices to open safely. We will also be launching a workshop series through other grants that we've received, as well as one-on-one technical assistance. Accessing capital, we are a Kiva trustee, so that's a very exciting development that we continue to look forward to. And I know that in the past we've been very much well known for our community events, and so we just want to let you guys know that we are exploring creative virtual alternatives, and when we get a better sense of what cannot happen, what the county and city will allow, we will definitely keep you guys all up to date on the developments on that end. And with the Downtown Richmond PBID, we continue to provide services, build and strengthen relationships with property owners. And so that's one of my biggest goals this year, was to start off by meeting every single property owner. And so I'm really excited that that's been going really well, and I continue to desire and will push for developing those relationships. And then also our crews, our neighborhood ambassador crews will continue to work as long as it is safe to do so, focusing on maintenance, such as weed and litter abatement, as well as hospitality, making sure it's a safe place for merchants, unhoused residents, visitors, shoppers. And like I mentioned earlier, the Census 2020 work is extremely important to us. So we continue to work with the county, which has given us a small grant for continued outreach and engagement. And then we got a United Way grant recently to do phone banking starting in early July. So we're very excited about that, and we'll be kind of highlighting the importance of census. So can I get a raise of hands if you're on video right now, if you've already participated in the census? Yay, Alicia. Okay, let me see. Yay, Ronnie. Okay, awesome. Well, wonderful. So the big deal, right, is that census is about money, power, and data. And then the importance of getting a complete count is to ensure that there's a accurate political representation in Congress and accurate funding for public services, which can be up to $20,000 per person over 10 years. So the big picture is that the census is quick, easy, safe, and very important. We have the power now to shape the future of our communities and build a Richmond and California for all by participating in Census 2020. So everybody counts, no matter your age, skin color, residency status, or language spoken. And the links below, you can find out more information about it. So, and so now we're going to use the raise hand feature on the bottom of your screen. And then we'll open the mic for anyone who might have some questions. And I'm actually going to remote control, give it to Ronnie. So Ronnie can take it away.
Yeah, hi everybody. And so if you have any questions, there is the chat little section there on the bottom of your screen to give us any questions that you may have. And then we'll go ahead and mute your mic so that you can ask away. Oh, there's also the raise hand feature as well. I believe that should be in the participants. If you click that, it'll give you the option to raise your hand there as well. Does anyone have any questions?
Can also offer comments, not just questions, I guess. So if anyone has any comments, questions, wants clarification, anything.
Is the stage 4 with the governor's office the target for opening community events also?
When you say community events, you mean like concerts and stuff and such, right, Rod?
Concerts, yes, the festivals.
Yeah, that is definitely stage 4 because we're talking about people shoulder to shoulder in a crowded environment. So we are waiting for information on that, for sure.
Thank you.
Good question.
I think Newton had a question here. How do you monitor people continue to trash the street?
How do we monitor people who continuously trash the streets? Okay, I know that in your near your property, Newton, I have conveyed the information about the illegal dumping and the graffiti to our neighborhood ambassadors. And so the supervisors are basically giving them assignments to make sure that they're out there a lot more frequently to make the reports about graffiti and illegal dumping. And if there's anything they can do in terms of litter pickup, that they would focus on that too. So that's a really good question. And so if you're a property owner or you notice something that's a hot spot, please let us know and we will make sure our neighborhood ambassadors are aware of it. And like I said, in March and April, they did take a hiatus due to safety reasons, but now that it's June 15th, they've been out there 2 weeks already doing their best to clean up. So please continue to relay information to me directly or the team, Newton. So we'll be happy to take care of that. Thank you.
And I can speak on this as well a little bit. If the concern is dumping activity that's taking place on your property, we also are in very close partnership with Richmond's Crime Prevention Department and code enforcement. So we would be more than happy to connect you with Michelle Milam or Mandy Swersding from Crime Prevention. They have a ton of tips and resources and best practices about, you know, what property owners or either commercial or homeowners can do in terms of you know, stopping illegal dumping that's happening in or around their properties. The biggest kind of, you know, it's a challenging issue to tackle because most of the times people who dump illegally are doing it at night. They are selecting areas very strategically where there maybe isn't a lot of foot traffic, or they think that they can get away with it. So one kind of big, and of course, like city resources are pretty stretched thin, and they can't have people, you know, kind of stationed out at hotspot areas because it's really difficult to predict when folks are going to be coming out to, you know, to dump, basically. So one suggestion that I've heard a lot from Crime Prevention Department is if you have the financial capacity to install security cameras at your property and to position them in ways where you would be able to capture especially license plate and other identifying information of vehicles that are being used to illegally dump, that will go a huge way in supporting the enforcement efforts of, you know, actually tracking down the people who conducted this, you know, illegal and unlawful activity on your property, and taking the necessary next steps to be able to take care of it. But definitely continuing to, you know, report it to us, report similar issues to the City of Richmond through the City of Richmond app. That's another good step to take as well.
Good point, Alicia. Thank you. Cool. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think Nitin had a follow-up question. So we should report to you first instead of going to the police?
Good question, and I would recommend doing both. And if doing both is every single time is, you know, too time intensive for you, I would recommend reporting every single incident to the police first through their illegal dumping hotline, which I will send you that information. And then if you have the capacity to also just let us know, we can track it on our end, and, you know, and then work with you hopefully on, if you don't like get a response from crime prevention or code enforcement or the illegal dumping folks, then we can assist you with follow-up.
Good question. I see two people I don't know yet, so please forgive me. Sherwin and Glenda, are you guys from Richmond? Do you guys live in the area? Do you own a property or business? Just curious. Oh, let me unmute you. Hold on. How do I do this? Ronnie, are you controlling my screen? I'm not sure. Oh, Glenda.
I did it myself.
There you go.
Hi there.
Glenda, hi.
Yes, I'm a Richmond resident. I live in the north and east neighborhood. Haven't lived here close to 5 years and just want to be involved in what's happening in the city. I've gone to lots of your the community events you've organized, last year's annual meeting, and just looking forward for continued revitalization once we get past the pandemic.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any questions for us or comments?
I don't think so. I think it feels like everything's a bit on hold because of what's happening. I did join late, unfortunately, and always interested in what new projects there are in the downtown hub near the visitor center. There was the you know, the big project that Wendell,
Cobiz.
yeah, what, pardon me?
Oh, sorry, Wendell, what?
I can't remember the name of the actor who was in The Wire and Treme. He was involved with a group to invest in the downtown. Am I having a senior moment here and nobody?
No, Wendell
no, you're
Pierce.
correct. You're
Wendell
thinking of
Pierce,
Wendell
okay.
Pierce.
All right.
Yes.
So perhaps you addressed that. I was curious what the status of that was, if it's not repeating it for people who've already heard it.
Alicia, do you have any updates on that particular development?
Well, yeah, I think, Glenda, I think you might be referring to the 12th and McDonald development project.
Probably. I don't think I
Yeah,
remember the name,
the
but-
mixed housing project.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that project is actually still moving through process with the city. I believe its next step is to go through design and planning. And actually, this upcoming Wednesday at the monthly Iron Triangle Neighborhood Council meeting, which will be hosted on Zoom as well, the lead developer for the 12th and McDonald project, Ernst Valley, will be giving a presentation about that. And so we will be in attendance to help get the update and to be able to also, you know, take in community feedback about the project. And I'm sure that anyone on this call would be welcome as well. So what we can do as a follow-up to today's meeting is we can send out the link and the meeting info for Wednesday's meeting. I believe it starts at 5 or
5:30.
5:30.
Mhm.
You can kind of hear firsthand from the developer who's working on the project about the status of the 12th and McDonald site.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's-
you're welcome.
And Sherwin, do you want to unmute yourself and kind of let us know where you're from, who you represent?
Hi, everyone. I'm Shirley Harris from the Bay Area Rescue Mission.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm a member of the Iron Triangle Council. Been at the Rescue Mission for 26 years. First came as a client and have moved up the ladder to where I used to run the youth department. I ran the men's recovery and our shelter for 11 years. And now I'm the director of the Bridge of Hope Project, which is a project to build a new center for women and children. It's roughly a 10,000 square foot building. We got a little more than $4 million budget. We're on target to break ground on 3rd Street, 3rd and 3rd, just off 3rd McDonald in September. So looking forward to that. That'll bring another 114 beds for homeless women and children. They'll be in our long-term transitional recovery program. And it just gives us another tool to kind of enhance our programs that we do. And yeah, it's just been an exciting program, and just happy to be a part of this meeting. I remember when Amanda first got started years ago, we used to be at the early stages of the Richmond Main Street organization when you guys first started.
Wow.
So kind of got sidetracked a little bit, and then Oscar gave me an email saying you guys would have a meeting today. So we just want to be able to, we know you guys are doing a lot of things to revitalize downtown. Years ago, I guess I'm dating myself, my uncle used to run the Gallencamp shoe store that was located right across from the where the reentry program is now by Crescent Jewelers.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about what's going on in the downtown area. Looking forward to the revitalization of it. I tried my best to go down to the Cobiz and have breakfast with that one attendant that's there and get my coffee, just to give them some support. So those type of
Thank
things.
you.
Looking forward to the arts. being enhanced, that our clients can further their recovery, socialization of our clients, being able to do things clean and sober. Those type of things are very vital to what their whole holistic recovery. So looking forward to it.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, great. So do you have any questions or comments, Sherwin, about our work for 2020 or anything?
No, well, would I be able to get a copy of this? Do you email it out or do I go on the website? I would love to share this at our executive meeting for the Bay Area Rescue Mission.
Yeah.
Let them know what's going on.
Yeah, sure. So we could definitely send you a copy of the presentation, and the live recording is going to be part of that email as well.
Great. Now, how do I get the invite for the meeting, except for being secondhand through Oscar?
Oh, well, are you receiving any of our emails?
No.
No? Oh, okay. So if you sign up with your email, maybe if you provide in the chat box, we can add you to our list and you'll always be updated on our meetings and events.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. I really appreciate all the work that Bay Area Rescue Mission is doing in our community. I really appreciate just the amazing projects that are going on too. Very cool. With that, are there any other questions from our stakeholders?
Vivian?
Oh, I see your comment.
I think Rod has a question.
Rod?
Yes. I'd be interested in how virtual events can be interactive. I know cities this past July held virtual 4th of July events, but it was more of a static event. People did activities like puzzles and things like that. So I'd be interested how we could do interactive vendors.
That's a really good point, and that's something that we're going to be exploring with our board and also our community stakeholders down the line. And it really depends on also maybe some of the partnerships that we have existing and what we can do in terms of collaborations, whether it's with East Bay Center for the Arts or NIAD or any other groups that can find a very innovative, creative way to involve people online. So when I was pitching for a grant recently, we talked about how there's this great interest for promoting youth. So maybe it could be like a youth talent show that we present on Zoom or something. So that would be really cool to explore. And if anyone has any ideas, please feel free to throw them out right now. What would you guys like to see? And then we'll try to figure out how to get it done. Mm-hmm. And Rod, can you specify or elaborate what you meant by static? You mentioned the city put on something and it was static. I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, for example, other cities, they had like puzzles to do, activities like that, but it wasn't an interactive real-time event.
I see. So you're asking how the Richmond Main Street can make events more interactive live.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
Got it.
I was in another group that is doing like mini film festivals. They choose a film each week. You're on your own to view the film, although they give you information about how to access it. Then on the day of, you discuss the film. They have the filmmaker, director or producer present, and you Q&A or explanations from the director producer. And in some cases, they did short breakout groups. with Zoom, where you talked a little bit about the film, expressed opinions, and the facilitator would collect questions that you would want to ask the filmmaker, and then after the breakout group, they'd pose the questions and the filmmaker would talk about the film. And I'm not sure I remember any names, but there must be some documentaries or other films that focus on Richmond or were produced by Richmond residents, and that might be a possibility.
Very cool. Wow, sounds really cool. I know we're with the small business support group that we're part of with the chamber and with the city and other partners, we were thinking of doing something related to, well, it actually wouldn't be virtual, it would be in person, which would be a scavenger hunt throughout downtown Richmond. And we would partner with someone who was maybe like a historian, and you would get clues and then you would take photos, of course, with your mask on, with, you know, socially distanced protocol, to kind of learn about our downtown area. And it could—
Great idea.
Huh?
Great idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so something to get you out of your seat, right? So those are all alternative plans that we have brewing. And in addition to that, which is not related to virtual, it would be like a small business week or shop local week in October, and possibly a Richmond restaurant week in September. And we're really racing against time because we hear in the news with the flu season coming this winter, you know, and plus COVID spikes, we want to beat that rush to maybe have more stringent shelter in place, you know, calls from the health department. So we're working with a very narrow window in terms of what we can do that is socially distanced and, you know, properly ensuring the safety of the public as well, while having fun and supporting our local businesses. But I think your mini film festival idea is very intriguing. I think that's really cool. I've been in Zoom meetings where they had the breakout rooms, and it just feels so surreal, you know, to be in a breakout room. But I'm sure we can make it happen. And so, yeah, that's a really great idea. We're taking notes. So thank you, Glenda. Cool. Is there any other question or concern from our audience that we can address here?
You know, I had a question. Is COVID-19 related? Do we have anything in place through Richmond Main Street that speaks to the availability of testing? Have they kind of mitigated the turnaround time that it takes? I think the fastest I've seen is 72 hours before you get a test result. And has anyone, you know, kind of thought it out to where, you know, once you get tested, shouldn't you self-quarantine yourself until you get the result, so you don't further put other people at risk? And also you know, I went to the bank and you know, I had my mask on, I had my gloves on, you know, I'm social distancing and all that, but the two people ahead of me, no mask, you know, no gloves, and the banks are, based on the health department mandating them or not regulating whether they had to have a mask to enter the establishment. They didn't require them to have a mask. Well,
the bank is breaking county health ordinance, because I believe you must wear a mask when you enter any building. And I know Alicia's been the one who's most up to date on testing and availability of testing. Do you have any comments or suggestions, Alicia?
Yeah, so in terms of testing in Contra Costa County, we do have a section in our community resource directory that speaks specifically to that. the last I kind of read up on the testing the county is doing is that it is by appointment only. It seems like the appointment availability is really opened up. I believe you are right, Sherwin. I think the turnaround time is around 72 hours until you can get your test results back. In terms of like CDC guidelines and what the health department is recommending for folks who believe that they are exhibiting symptoms that are COVID-19 is that those folks should be self-isolating. And I would agree with you. If you feel the need to get a test, that you should probably also choose to, you know, stay in self-isolation as much as possible until you receive those test results. And then also, of course, you know, the testing that's through the county is free of cost, and it's available for anyone regardless of their residency status, as long as they are a resident of Contra Costa County. And I believe also that it is open for folks who have insurance and for folks who are uninsured. If you have insurance, your insurance company is billed. If not, the county takes care of it. So they're really trying their best to make it as zero cost, zero hassle as possible, recognizing that testing is a crucial part of the solution to getting this pandemic under control and protecting the health and safety of all of our residents. And what I have heard, speaking to your other point in terms of you having personal experiences of seeing businesses not, following county guidelines in terms of, you know, no entry unless a mask is worn, is that I think they are encouraging citizens to contact the county to report any sort of issues like that. So I would highly recommend contacting the county's the coronavirus hotline, which I can throw into the chat box here. Let me pull it up real quick and kind of provide that tip. And then there should be some sort of follow-up from county health officials. And just in general, you know, the kind of rule of thumb that I've heard around, issuing complaints or feedback of any nature is to provide as many details as you can. So the exact location that you went to, if you can provide the exact address, that's super helpful. Day and time, and like a real rundown of what you witnessed. You know, I was in X, Y, and Z bank at X ABC address on June 4th. At 10 a.m. in the morning. I had my mask on. I saw, 5 people in line that did not have a mask on, and they were allowed to be inside. And, that just doesn't feel right to me. To protect the health and safety of the community, I think the county should really contact this business and, make sure that they are actually doing business the way that they should be doing to protect community health.
Right. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And let me throw in that. Actually, I'm going to throw in the chat the link to our hotline directory. So if people just want a really quick, at a glance layout of all the various coronavirus related helplines and hotlines that there are in the area, as well as nationwide. We're super excited to see there's a lot of entities that are responding, and they are pulling together like one-stop shops that people can call, because we also know and recognize that not everyone is digitally connected. That's really great, but I was having a super hard time keeping them all straight. So I'm like, you know what, let me just pull together a sheet, put them all into one place. That way I can reference it that way, and I don't have to go digging through a bunch of other sections that I've already put through. So this is one that I highly recommend people kind of keeping bookmarked, and please do call those numbers to make use of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one question or issue that occurs to me, and that's the movement to defund the police, which I think we understand at least part of it is to take funds away from the police and allocate them to different agencies, government or not, and that the police don't need to be involved in certain issues that often result in their murdering people, besides everything else about police practices. So this is I think, going to become a even more major issue, and it's how shall I pose this? I'm hoping that it's going to be on Richmond Main Street's radar as far as how policies develop or get redeveloped, because I think that I don't know if you're allowed to take positions on issues, if your organization is such an organization that it can, but see that you rely on people. Like, there was a question about people trashing, and the suggestion was you should notify RPD, and it's here in the chat somewhere. Well, maybe dumping isn't an issue for police. Maybe it should be public works, and funds should be more directed there. So I'm just hoping that that will be on your radar, and that there will be develop a more progressive and effective policy about what the police do.
I think I thank you for bringing to our attention the need for us to have this conversation about defunding the police on our radar. We are following city council meeting results. I know there's been a lot of debate. The last I heard was that they tabled that conversation that was brought to the attention by Mayor Tom Butt. So we are following the news, we're following city council meeting developments, and in terms of taking sides, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and so I believe that there are certain issues that, especially if National Main Street takes a stance, we're comfortable with taking stances with their narrative, if that makes sense, especially around condemning racism. Like, we definitely are able to do that. Now, with the actual defunding of Richmond police, I have not been, I don't think we've had like a board level discussion on this specific issue. We have talked about other issues related to this, but this is something that we can definitely bring back to our board and see what type and level of involvement we ought to have. But thank you for bringing that up, Glenda. I really appreciate it. Any other questions? I know the internet's funky for some people. If there are no more questions, I believe that we can adjourn this meeting, right? Yes. I wanted to also open up the floor if Robert or Charlene wants to chime in at all. If not, then we can sign off. Yeah.
I'm good.
I'd be happy to say something very quickly.
Okay.
Hey, thanks so much to Vivian and Alicia and Ronnie and all the other great participants for joining us as well. I'm a board member, Robert Rogers, with County Supervisor Joya's office. And I want to say I really appreciate the great work going on downtown. And in particular, doing this work amidst this unprecedented COVID crisis has been a tremendous undertaking. And I think that as the crisis recedes, and hopefully we are able to minimize additional public health impacts, that the downtown and the businesses there are going to emerge on the back end of this stronger than ever. Thanks so much to all the support and all the people who are working hard to make downtown great. So it's been a tremendous challenge in the meantime, but I think the future is really bright. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just briefly say, because now Robert's shamed me into speaking. I'm Charlene Smith, and I'm also a board member at Richmond Main Street, and I represent, I'm the Senior Development Officer at East Bay Center for the Performing Arts, where I've worked for 30 years, 31 actually. So since we own our property and our building, I am our representative as a property owner for the PBID. as if you are in the neighborhood, you've noticed we have not been open for a long time. Every once in a while, you see a person walking back and forth. Just to let you know about us, we're right now doing everything online. So we are providing private lessons and classes. We finished up our classes with the school district. We serve about 3,500 students in the school district, and we did finish them all either through the district's YouTube channel or through our own Zoom rooms. And so we do have classes this summer. They started last week and they'll go till, I think, the end of July. But you won't see anybody because we're still out of the building. We have a very narrow building, so we're unclear on what social distancing will look like. So we appreciate all, I mean, obviously I'm on the board, so I do think it's a great organization since I am on the board, but I do, as a representative of a property owner, we are certainly happy to have the extra eyes on the ground and the extra help with cleaning up and just the extra presence on the streets. And we will be back. I mean, people will see us there again. I'm just not entirely sure when, but we're still there. So, and as a board member, I would like to thank you all for coming to this meeting and speaking up and bringing concerns and ideas, because that's really the only way that a community organization such as Richmond Main Street can serve its community. So thank you all. And now I'll disappear again because I'm still eating my supper.
Oh, thank you so much, Charlene and Robert, for chiming in. And I just wanted to briefly mention that one of the goals I have for this summer, fall, is to put together a merchant association. And through the Merchants Association, we would provide a type of advisory role based on data, based on our relationships and best practices, to really empower our downtown merchants to really come together and think of initiatives and plans that would really benefit them. And so one of the ideas would be to create a business watch. In light of the recent lootings, I already designed a very placeholder type of signage for people to put on their windows, which was like Downtown Richmond Merchants Association Business Watch. So it would hopefully deter people from breaking in. I believe only one building, T-Mobile, got broken into, and we're just in constant communication with our business owners to make sure they're safe. And I am very appreciative of the fact that we have so many ambassadors on the street as of June 1st, which increases the safety because of their presence. So yeah, those are some things in the pipeline that I really look forward to updating you guys all on. And we'll definitely huddle, after this meeting's over in the following few weeks with the team and with the board to bring to attention everybody's comments and concerns. So please note that we've taken lots of notes from this meeting, and we will do a report out as well. And everyone will have a copy of our slide deck as well as the recording from today's meeting. So, and so, yeah, thank you so much. And I really, really appreciate every single one of you. It's a pleasure meeting all of you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Farewell. Till next time.